If you're a writer, you know the search for the perfect tool can feel endless. Well, today we're putting two heavyweights head to head, but they couldn't be more different. We've got the project managing powerhouse, Scrivener, versus the minimalist marvel, Typora. So let's figure out which one is the right weapon for your words. But first, I want you to ask yourself a question and really think about it. Are you building a cathedral or are you writing a poem? Seriously, the scale of your project is probably the single biggest factor here, because these two apps are built on totally different ideas about what writing is. And this gets right to the heart of it. Scrivener on the left, that's for the architect, the writer who's building massive worlds, juggling timelines, and needs a blueprint for every single moving part. And then you've got Typora on the right, that's for the minimalist, the writer who just wants the shortest, cleanest path from a thought in their head to a word on the page. It's structure versus pure, unadulterated flow. All right, so let's see how those big ideas actually look and feel when you're writing. We're going to start with the workspace itself, the very first thing you see. Are we talking about a command center or a completely blank canvas? And here we have it. This is Scrivener. It really is a full-blown command center. You've got your whole manuscript broken down in what's called the binder over on the left. Your main editor is right there in the middle, and then on the right, you've got all your notes, your research, your metadata. Everything you could possibly need is right there in one window. And then there's Typora. It's the polar opposite, a truly blank canvas. What Typora does is it gets rid of everything else. There's no separate preview window, no distracting code. You just type, and it formats beautifully in real time. The whole point is to just get out of your way and let you focus on the words. Okay, so this brings us to the next massive difference, project organization. I mean, how do you actually structure your work? The way these apps handle this couldn't be more different. And honestly, this is often the make or break feature for a lot of writers. You know, what's so fascinating here is this quote from a user who actually bailed on Scrivener, its greatest strength. All that organizational power can, for some people, become its biggest weakness. It can turn into a labyrinth of binders. It just goes to show that more features aren't always better if they don't match how you work. So here's the fundamental difference. Scrivener thinks of your project as a giant digital ring binder. Everything, your manuscript, your character notes, web pages, PDFs, it all lives inside one single project file. Typora, on the other hand, just uses the simple file and folder system you already use every day. Your writing is just a bunch of plain text files on your computer. That's it. Now, to pull off that all-in-one structure, Scrivener gives you a pretty incredible toolkit. You have the binder, which lets you slice your work into tiny chunks and reorder them just by dragging and dropping. There's a virtual corkboard to visualize your story on index cards. You get a super detailed outliner, custom metadata to track things, and even a dedicated research section. It is built for going deep. Okay, so you've done it. You've written your masterpiece. Now what? Let's look at how these two apps handle that final, all-important step, getting your work exported and ready to be seen by the world. Scrivener's secret weapon for exporting is a feature called Compile, and let me tell you, it is wildly powerful. It lets you take all those little pieces from your binder and stitch them together into a perfectly formatted manuscript for an agent or for self-publishing. Typora, true to form, keeps it simple. You get clean, one-click exports to all the formats you need with zero fuss. Now, they both cover the basics, right? You can get your work out as a Word doc, a PDF, an EPUB file. But Scrivener has a huge leg up for screenwriters because it can export directly to final draft format. Typora's real strength, though, is its perfect, clean markdown output, which is an absolute game changer for anyone writing for the web or doing technical documentation. Okay, we've talked a lot about features and philosophy, but let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about the real-world stuff that you have to deal with every day. How hard is it to learn? What does it cost? And does it even run on your computer? This chart pretty much says it all. Scrivener is famous, or maybe infamous, for its steep learning curve. You really have to put in the time to learn how to use it properly. Typora, on the other hand, you can pick it up in like 5 minutes. It's incredibly intuitive. The time investment to just get comfortable is night and day. And then there's the price tag. For Scrivener, you're looking at a one-time purchase of $59 for the desktop version, and you have to buy the iOS version separately. Meanwhile, Typora comes in at just $14.99, and that single license lets you install it on up to 3 different computers. That's a pretty big difference. And finally, let's talk about where you can actually use these things. Scrivener has you covered for macOS, Windows, and iOS. But, and this is a big but, there is no Android version. And for all you Linux users out there, well, your choice is already made for you. Typora is your only option here, and it runs beautifully on all 3 major desktop systems. Okay, we've gone through the workspace, organization, exporting, and all the practical stuff. Let's put it all together. Let's figure out which of these is going to be the perfect writing partner for you. So here's the cheat sheet. If you're a novelist or an academic researcher and you're juggling a massive project with tons of research, Scrivener is your best friend, no question. But if you're a blogger, a student, or a developer who just needs to get clean text down quickly in Markdown, Typora is hands down the winner. It's all about matching the tool to the job. And I have to linger on that screenwriter point for a second. Even though Scrivener can export to Final Draft, a lot of working screenwriters just don't like writing in it. This quote from a user on Reddit just hits so hard. Great for novels, but awful for screenplays. That's a pretty serious warning for anyone thinking about writing a script. So in the end, it all comes back to this one idea. The choice isn't about which app is better overall. It's about what your specific project needs right now. Do you need that deep, powerful, integrated structure to keep everything straight? Or do you just need streamlined, distraction-free simplicity to let the words flow? So I'll leave you with this final thought. Maybe the question isn't about which one of these you should own, because honestly, a lot of writers own both. The real question is, for the project you're working on today, which hat do you need to wear? Are you the architect or are you the minimalist? The answer to that will tell you exactly which weapon to pick up.